Today's video we're going to talk about why you still need to stack some of this stuff, even if it might end up turning into some of this stuff. Oh, and by the way, 10 new Sovs, we'll take a look at those too. So if you're watching this video, you're probably aware of what happens to a lot of fiat currencies over time, and some of the protectional properties that gold has from that. So a lot of people buy gold to hedge from inflation and things like this. Some people treat it as an investment, others treat it as part of long-term savings like I do. So there are many different people buying gold for many different reasons. Some just like shiny things and shiny jewellery, I guess, and others perhaps they are, purely stacking, and some are perhaps just collecting. They're not really that bothered about the actual value of the gold over time. They're just looking for something to collect, and gold's what takes their fancy. Because let's face it, people collect some interesting things, and not all of them are worth a lot of money. So, because I had a little bit of this on hand, I don't necessarily mean physical paper cash, but money in the bank, fiat currency. I was able to capitalise on a deal that came up, and I got these 10 best value young Victoria sovereigns the other day. So they've arrived. I had a quick look through and tested everything, but just going to take a look in a bit more detail now and walk you through them. But yeah, you'll notice some of the notes I showed you earlier. These are some countries that witnessed hyperinflation. So this is from Georgia. There's a lot of people point out Zimbabwe. They had some very large, even $1 trillion notes. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of these countries thought, oh, it'll never happen to us, Perhaps they thought it would only happen to countries like Nicaragua and, some of these that are not necessarily known as economic powerhouses in the world. Yeah, some maybe a bit closer to home, Turkey, if you're in the UK. Now, over in England, the gold sovereign has a face value of £1. So this is an old £1 note. You'll see, obviously, a young queen there. And, yeah, these are technically a face value of £1. You're not going to go in the shops and spend that, but these £1 banknotes at the time were worth £1 as well. Obviously the paper doesn't have a lot of intrinsic value, and we've got Isaac Newton on the back there. I think he's not been around for a while, but I wonder what he'd think at today's prices now. Probably be a little bit shocked. So yeah, when I first bought my first ever gold sovereign, it was about £230, only in 2018. And back then, people were saying, it's a lot of money that for a sovereign. They used to just be, this and that. And I remember when they were £100. But anyway, I've kept buying, and I think I've done okay. So for me personally, I don't buy gold as an investment. Like I wouldn't really consider it in my investment pot, more just as a bit of my long-term savings, really. So anyway, I keep buying gold. I am really a stacker, but you could say I am getting towards being a collector. I do have some fairly nice sovereigns in here as well, but mostly I just buy best value bullion ones. If I get the chance to pick a date or pick out of a bunch, then I might just pick the best quality or a date I haven't got. So yeah, I am really looking to try and get a full date run of sovereigns over time. Now, the first modern sovereigns were 1817, and the first, pre-Victoria kings, if you like, that go up to about 1837, they would be a little bit more pricey if you want a nice example. Now, the young Victorias are getting a bit more pricey as well, especially the shields. So I've got a shield just here for you to see. Now, I got very lucky buying this at just a best value kind of price. So absolute bargain. This is a very good quality shield. If you can see the lions, the three on the right hand side of the shield there, if you can see any detail on the face, then you've got a fairly good example on this side. And then if we flip the coin this way, which we do for the young Victorias, you'll see quite a lot of detail in the hair, and she's not bald or anything like that. So we've got quite a good example there. You do see some that have a bit more wear, which they were circulated coins, and it's not unheard of for coins to get dropped and dinged and things like that. And I suppose some would be melted down over time because, you know, they would just be used in circulation and past their sort of useful life, really. So these are 10 from, like I say, a best value of Young Victorias. And they've all come, none are shields, but they've all come in pretty good condition. So there's a lot of Melbourne mints there. You'll see the mint mark just below the neck. So a few of those are the Melbourne mint. But overall, pretty happy with these, what have come. There was one that stood out a little bit, this one here. So if I just put a couple side to side, you'll just notice that one, it does stand out a little bit. So out of the 10 I bought, only one is a date that I haven't already got. So that will obviously go into the date run. Now this one here, 1880, looks like it's perhaps had a little bit of a clean at some point. You can see the others look a bit more matte, whereas that one looks a bit more like polished or shiny. So it's not gone, you know, so crazy that it's worn away the coin or anything like that. It still obviously weighs what it should and that kind of thing, but yeah, it has just been given probably a bit of a clean at some point, I would think. So yeah, it just stands out between the 10. You know, it is a genuine coin, obviously, and bought from a reputable dealer. Obviously, I've done my own tests with the Sigma and scales, etc. So some of the sort of tests you can do at home, you know, I've covered in other videos. I will go into more detail on perhaps another future video. But those are my 10 sovereigns for this week. So the importance of having a bit of cash on hand, just even, you know, with what's going on at the moment, people may be a bit nervous about having large amounts of cash in the bank. For some, that's not a problem. You know, no money worries if you've not got any money. You definitely want to keep enough in the bank for paying your basic bills, you know, things like that. And whilst obviously I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, it's just, you know, an entertainment video. The thing is, you do need to just keep the bills paid, and if you don't have any cash on hand, you can't capitalise on the deals that come up. For me, I like to keep a little bit of a safety net, you know, a few months of expenses, and then some for just in case. You know, I put a little bit away for long-term savings, even though, you know, there is some inflation to it. Ultimately, there is, you know, the benefit of being able to act quickly and, you know, to pounce on assets when they come available. So it's not that I want to hold the cash for long term, but I realise there's an opportunity cost to not having the cash, you know, if you need it for something that comes up. So that is my video for today. If you enjoyed this one, there's another one that you might like here. I'll talk to you soon.